I'm Dave Mann, founder of the Shining Lights Trust and one of its directors. This trust is set up to enable new innovation and initiative that could help the church at large to better achieve its mission. To put it differently, our work is to think differently and to help others to do the same so they can get different results to what they're currently getting. The purpose of this video is very simply to let you know what we've done and what we're going to do, because there's an opportunity here for some key funders to participate in what we think is a very exciting journey. The focus of our past 5 years was primarily on a gospel project in New Zealand called the Hope Project. This project aimed to initiate a conversation about the reasons for the hope we have in Christ with every secular person within New Zealand through media, while preparing followers of Jesus to engage that conversation, kind of like the two hands that clap. In terms of the media, the project saw copies of 3 dynamic gospel booklets going to 1.4 million homes, plus we had an average of about 160,000 spare copies of each booklet, going out to churches and individuals upon request. In terms of television advertisements, we had 3 phases of television ads with about 2 million New Zealanders seeing each. And amongst things on the website, we had a few 100,000 visits, but we'd say we only had about 70,000 engagements online that were long enough to potentially be called meaningful, though social media was an addition to this. But the real story, we think, is what's been happening in hundreds of churches throughout the nation as a result. Mobilising members as witnesses is the hardest thing in outreach. In fact, 5 years ago, most national church leaders willingly admitted that evangelism was in the too hard basket, and most pastors said the same. And it was into this environment that we brought a member mobilisation strategy that we believed could turn the situation on its head. And 5 years later, it's been working. Principally, instead of busying churches with yet another program, we articulated firstly what a sensible evangelism training content might look like, and then secondly, we gave pastors 4 leadership habits to apply so that they could begin to turn the culture of their churches and to fix the problem. Now, to give you the early results on this, by the end of the Hope Project, we had 650 partnering churches, with the average of those churches having been connected to us for less than 2 years. 80% of those churches had given some conversational evangelism training through their main services. Some doing this through preaching sermons, we provided sermon outlines with studies, and others doing this through using equipping videos that we provided. Now, the preaching of your equipping is one of the 4 habits that we've been encouraging pastors to embrace. Now, of note, most of these churches would have had no regular evangelism training for a considerable period of time prior to this. And if they did, it was probably a seminar that was held on a Saturday and attended by a small few people. And so something profoundly significant has taken place, if we can see it, because their equipping of their members for their mission has shifted from poorly attended seminars run on Saturdays through to Sunday services with everybody hearing the content and with the pastor, the key church leader, taking the lead. And now that the Hope Project is completed, instead of the number of partnering churches dropping off, more pastors are actually subscribing. And more ministers groups throughout the country are opening up to us. And why? Well, it's because churches are seeing early results. There is something subtle in the evangelistic DNA of a number of churches that is shifting through their application of the mobilisation strategy's habits, like members becoming more friendly to visitors, members becoming bolder to engage everyday, two-way, non-threatening spiritual conversations, more visitors coming to church, and more people coming to faith. We did a survey of participating churches at the end of the Hope Project, and one of the questions we asked was, would you consider yourself more evangelistic than before when you partnered with this project? 10 meaning completely different and 0 meaning not at all. The average church rated themselves as a 6.1. So God is doing something. And this is giving us some incredible opportunities to continue to serve churches that we are partnered with, as well as to get more churches to join this amazing journey of seeing the culture turn and their members mobilised. But this is not all that's happening, because we've linked to a thing called Global Outreach Day, which for those who don't know is already the largest evangelism mobilisation effort in human history. Started 5 years ago by 2 Germans, this is now found in 155 nations with an estimated 500,000 participating churches. Now, the founders of this came over to New Zealand to try to recruit me to get Global Outreach Day started in the Australia-Pacific region. And it was while here that they discovered our mobilisation strategy, which they now want to make available to churches throughout their network. because they recognised that it can work in any cultural environment because it's not a program, instead it's based around principles and around habits. As a result, while I'm overseeing the introduction of Global Outreach Day in the Australia Pacific region now, our mobilization strategy is also being incorporated into their entire strategy. And as a result, I'm also currently on the international strategic team of Global Outreach Day to help this come about. It goes without saying that the opportunity within this is huge, but yet again it involves team building, resource development, video production, websites, databases and more. And all of these things need a broad group of people to help. Another exciting possibility in front of us is that we've identified a significant need for someone to find a way to encourage the gospel focus of New Zealand Christian youth ministries, whilst also helping to get Christian outreach in schools going again in a stronger way. It's said that about 90% of those who come to faith do so before the age of 20. Yet we estimate that attendance in youth ministries in New Zealand is currently about 1/3 to even 1/4 of what it was 25 years ago. It's a significant strategic problem and it needs a solution. And so we're working to produce a strategically considered digital equipping resource that will be accessible to youth and youth leaders on their smartphones and their laptops. It'll provide concise video tutorials in 3 areas. First of all, 5 equipping videos per year with studies so youth leaders can equip their members. Secondly, 12 equipping tutorials that youth leaders can watch to learn how to build an evangelistic culture within their youth ministry and how to run some great outreaching events. And this is because your average youth leader is turning over about every 2 years. And then thirdly, a series of concise tutorials on how to run an effective outreaching group in a school so that youth can be released to reach out in this environment again. Because the potential in this is so significant, we've actually already found and recruited a guy who's joined our team to oversee it. But as with all of these initiatives, the opportunities are significant, but the expansion needs resource. So we are facing some amazing opportunities. As our big national project came to its end, we found that the opportunities in front of us weren't contracting, but were expanding. And because this is about people and relationships and momentum, we've already in faith committed to a 5-year plan with a $200,000 per year starting budget for which we currently have nothing raised. And we've already travelled the length of New Zealand over the last 3 months to meet with ministers groups in the largest 60 cities and towns because doors are open before us right now. In fact, we've already run a first national evangelism conference in our nation in 15 years, with 20 other amazing outreach organisations coming in as partners, and the most amazing coming together of the pastoral and evangelistic hearts and minds to a common focus upon the gospel. We've also already arranged videographers to film new outreach equipping videos that we're creating, because we have audiences. For example, the Because We Care video series we created, equipping people in 5-minute videos, was viewed by around about 40,000 New Zealanders. If we will produce more of these videos, the opportunity is there for tens of thousands of people through our networks and more to be able to watch them. So we believe that we now need a few key funders who recognise the strategic innovations and initiatives that we're currently positioned to bring to the table. And we're positioned because of the giftings God has given us, as well as because of the networks that God has connected us to. Would you be interested to participate in what we are doing so it can be achieved? And might you know of others who might be interested as well? More details can be found at our website for people who attend a local church, which is altogether.co.nz, and you can find financial details at the donate page. You're of course most welcome to contact us directly also for a conversation. We invite you to support us in this pioneer, innovative work that God is opening up before us. Thank you.